Good. Single best chart today. Let's do that with Tobias Lefkovich right now with Citigroup. This is the chart we showed last week. Tobias knows this chart cold. It's the Ibbotson chart. In this case, we're showing Standard & Poor's 500 slope matters. It's logged the depression in the 30s over on the left. And I put some circles there of kisses. These are kisses. These are moving averages which show that all the doom and the gloom that's out there is baloney. We've got one here, Tobias. Got another one up here. What's wrong with buy and hold?
In today's hedge fund-dominated week-to-week performance world, that's the problem. You have lots of the traditional buy and hold investors who've held back, and they've not participated in this market. And I'm not talking about the last year or two. They haven't participated since '09. They've missed this more than tripling of the market.
So what does that mean? What does that mean for the mood of the market into the summer, into the autumn as well?
I think there's a potential for positive surprise because they're already anticipating weakness. They're already worried about a whole host of issues, including elections abroad, which is what we were worried about a month or two or three ago. But they moved on from the Netherlands to, to France, et cetera. And I think investors continue to find things to worry about, which is not the type of environment where markets peak out. Which
sector do you like best?
Financials are one of them,
and
energy is another one that I'd probably be picking up here, as investors have kind of abandoned them.
And when it comes to the firepower, we're not really seeing that reflected in financial conditions. In fact, since the last rate hike we saw in March, as well as the one in December, we've actually seen conditions ease. We throw up a chart there to show you. We've seen the dollar has weakened, stocks continue to rise at record levels, and the international outlook is looking a little bit better too when you have worries of potential economic and political shocks out of China. Europe seems to have receded now. So can the Fed still do more this year?
I think you have to be careful, and your viewers have to be careful about interpreting these financial conditions indexes. So the equity markets are up a lot in the U.S. since the election. My interpretation is that a lot of that is in anticipation of corporate tax changes and possibly personal tax changes that are afoot in the U.S. And, all by themselves, those tax changes would revalue the U.S. corporate sector on the order of 10 to 15%, which is about what has happened since the election. And because of that, I think the rise in equity prices can't be interpreted quite the way it would be in other times when the market might foresee faster growth in the U.S. or other factors. On the dollar, the thing about the dollar is you've always got the question of what the other central banks are doing, and what was priced into markets previously. And so, in the current environment, the dollar has weakened a little bit compared to because of the changes in perceptions of policies of other central banks in tandem with U.S. monetary policy.
And it's also weakened, perhaps, Jim, as well, with more worries about what's going on in Washington. And, Jim, I want to pull up another chart here that just tells you what's on Americans' minds, right? Consumer confidence. Those numbers, interestingly, continue to go up, not bringing spending along, though. Spending clearly on a divergent path from confidence. But nonetheless, Jim, consumer confidence remains high. But I'm curious if you think that is on shaky ground if we see more chaos out of Washington, more distractions for President Trump. Do you think that eventually, if we see more of this, that the Fed's going to have to consider that impact on confidence, not just consumer confidence, but business confidence?
Yeah, I think the business confidence numbers shot up after the election. The president was perceived as more pro-business than the previous administration. Washington does have to deliver at some point, and I think that is a concern going forward, whether the honeymoon period would end at some point, and maybe the reality of American politics would settle in. We'll see if that happens or not. I think the jury's still out on all of that.
Hey, Jim.